The paradox of loneliness. By definition, it means the seeming contradiction of feeling isolated, despite living in a highly connected world, where technology and social media are readily available, yet individuals may still experience profound feelings of loneliness and social isolation.
Kendrick?
Basically, we have increased connectivity due to all these things like social media, the internet, being able to connect to someone within a few seconds through a text message. However, the loneliness epidemic has risen more and more and more. That's why when you see an image like this, it just screams loneliness, yet it's not even what we're talking about today. Yet you can kind of instantly recognize it from the one quote, "You look lonely, I can fix that." And it's a weird thing because when you think about it, we really are in an age where we shouldn't be as lonely as we are. And, isolation and loneliness are one and the same. You can be lonely in a group of people, and you can be lonely without anyone. I've personally experienced it myself before, and I've had waves more recently where I've had to kind of front this solitude of loneliness that's been coming around. And today we're just going to talk about it. So I've got a couple points on my screen here, which are relating to the definition of the paradox of loneliness. It's more kind of specifically a detailed explanation of what I just said before, but I kind of just want to go through a couple of the points, and apply like real life situations to them, or just make it a little bit more easy to understand, because let's be real here, some of these definitions are just so intricate that I feel like it really doesn't need to be that complicated. We can compare it to a real life situation. Starting off with the illusion of connection. Social media and online platforms can create the illusion of connection, with individuals having numerous friends or followers, but these connections may not be genuine or fulfilling. A perfect example of this would be opening your phone, seeing somebody that you don't like very much, having more followers, people commenting on their posts, saying all these things like, "Oh my god, slay queen, you're literally the prettiest," or some shit like, "Hard, this is so fire, so clean, fresh," but like just some random shit. These people glazing each other, these people putting each other on a pedestal, getting more likes, and some of their posts have hundreds or thousands of likes, and they have all these followers, and they have this amazing life. However, it's all an illusion. It's a facade, an oasis. Because let's be real here, one of the best things about being your authentic self, or being yourself in real life, is that you are the physical display of yourself. It's not some screen that you can fabricate. It's not some profile that you created intricately to make it look the best. And I know that people don't look into it that deep, but I mean, look about it, man. Like, there are people who spend hours and hours going through photos to pick the best one, editing them, changing the colors, making sure they have the right song, they post at the right time, posting certain stories, going to individual parts of music when putting it on their story to send a sneak diss to somebody who they know is going to see it. Or post something specifically because maybe they're not friends with someone anymore, or maybe because they want their ex to see it, or the person they like to see it. They do all of these things to paint this facade that they're just so much better and they're living life so much better. And it's something that even I find myself, getting lost in. I fall for this illusion sometimes. I see these people showing a life of them being better when they might not even be in a better situation than me. Yet, for some reason, I can't clock the fact that that's reality. And I think it's because it's so ingrained in our culture nowadays, especially with social media. It's kind of rare to find somebody who doesn't use social media these days. I know that a lot more people have been deleting it and staying off it for, their own reasons. I know it's been a bit of a trend as well. But really, most people are on it. Not a lot of people look at it the same way as the definition does, or how I'm saying it. But it does seem to be a thing that kind of, it's just there in the background. And the fact that, individuals show off having numerous friends or followers, through their social media, it can make you feel even lonelier. Tying back to this idea that we are in an age where you're seeing so much of what's going on. You see all these people showing off a lifestyle that you feel as if your lifestyle doesn't mean anything because you don't have that. And, it's always going to be a thing of comparing. There's always going to be envy involved. But at the end of the day, man, it just sucks because there's really no way we can just show people that people's life isn't like that. You know, not everyone's doing something all the time. And I feel like that kind of validation of wanting people to see that you have a life as good, you know, it is just as much of a loneliness as someone who's watching someone who's showing that they have it all. Anyway, next point. The need for authentic interaction. Our fundamental need for authentic human interaction and intimacy may not be adequately met by digital connections, leading to feelings of loneliness and isolation. I mean, there's not much to say on this one, this is just facts. You know, you can't live through digital interactions forever. Why do you think a lot of long distance relationships or friendships don't work out? I mean, you need to interact with someone. You need to be able to speak with them face to face. You know, a call isn't always going to do it justice. I mean, I guess it depends how often you're talking to them. I mean, look, online friends when playing games is a lot different to, you know, seeing a partner. You know, there's sometimes a need for a in-person, authentic interaction, a need to do something, or I guess in a relationship sense, a need for intimacy and a longing to see the person. I guess with online friends it can be a bit different because, you know, you don't need to see an online friend to enjoy a task, because if the task is something like gaming or, you know, watching movies or doing whatever, that's something that can be done at any time. So that's a bit different. But there is always going to be a need for that genuine human connection with somebody, whether it's a friend, you know, a colleague, an animal, a partner. And I feel like that's what really, really ties into this loneliness epidemic that we are facing, is just people don't have that anymore. You know, everything is through the screen these days. When was the last time you met up with someone just to get a coffee or go get a drink or something like that? It just doesn't happen often, man. Once you leave those places where everybody just, you know, pass together, like schools and universities and stuff like that, you don't really see people as much anymore. And it's kind of a hard pill to swallow, man. That's the good thing about the gym, is that if you do go to the gym and you do have a couple friends who train, going to see a friend for a gym session is not only a benefit for your health, but it gives you a reason to just talk to a mate, you know, I guess share a drink of caffeine of your choice, or, you know, drink some water, whatever, you know, yap about some random shit, get better yourselves. Like there's like a benefit, there's a mutual benefit always. And although being with the person you want to hang out with is a benefit, of course, it's just, you know, you're stacking and stacking good things on. The role of solitude. While solitude can be a valuable space for introspection and self-discovery, societal narratives often portray it negatively, potentially exacerbating feelings of loneliness and isolation. Basically, solitude just intensifies loneliness. Although I think there is always periods of solitude which is important. Like sometimes in solitude you have to just kind of sit there and then just think. And I had one of those moments the other day, and it was hard, man. Like when everything kind of hits you at once and you really realize how much shit you've actually got going on and how long you've been running away from it, it fucking hurts, man. It just sucks. Like you just sit there and you just feel the worst you've ever felt. And there's nothing you can do. You know, no matter if you try to distract yourself, you try to call someone or do this or that, when there comes that one specific time when it's too late, you know, to go and distract yourself, you know, you're sick of scrolling, you're sick of looking at your phone, everyone's asleep, or nobody can get on, or you can't see any friends, or you can't see your partner. Like there's nothing you could do to distract yourself, or even anything you want to do to distract yourself. That's a moment of solitude where things just really kind of hit. And you know, that feeling of loneliness is probably at its peak at that point. You know, when the world's gone quiet. It's more prominent in the nighttime than the daytime for obvious reasons, but it's kind of those moments where you just kind of sit there and just think, damn. Anyway, the next point, rethinking solitude. Public health messages should focus on fostering healthier benefits about solitude, recognizing its potential benefits rather than solely promoting social interaction as a cure for loneliness. I feel like that kind of just ties into a valuable space of introspection and self-discovery. You know, as the previous role point was. I mean, solitude is good and bad. There's good and bad in everything. Realistically, meditation, I guess, is a form of solitude if you think about it, because you're just sitting there with your thoughts, and you're breathing, and you just try to relax. So there's benefits, of course, being by yourself. But at the end of the day, human interaction is important. You know, we are a social species. So trying to make sure that you actually go and have those interactions is something super important. Now, before we go through the final points, I want to build off that point of what do you do when you have nobody? Or what do you do when everybody's busy? Well, look, if you want the short answer, just get a fucking dog or cat. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that is probably the only thing I could recommend that would be an instant fix of loneliness. Like, I'm sorry, I know that's like an unserious answer, but really, like, genuinely, pets change your life. Anyway, if you can't get a pet, and obviously that's not on the agenda, what do you do? Well, one thing you can do is distract yourself, get lost in a hobby or work, find something fulfilling to kind of overpower that feeling of loneliness, or at the very least, kind of distract you from the reality of that. If you set a goal and you aim towards it, that's probably going to fill that void of loneliness, at least to a degree where it's no longer just terrorizing you all the time. If you're unhappy in life, or you're unhappy with things going on as well, you got to find ways to change your environment. You might not be able to change your situation, but if you need to study, for example, you could study in a library in your room. You could walk down to a park and study in a park. Like, you can do things that have, people around, instead of it being an isolated environment, you can make it an open environment with people. There might be like-minded people. There might be people around. Another thing you do is you can join clubs. You can join places. You can go places. You can go through dating apps. You can do things which give you the opportunity to have those interactions with people. And although it's never going to be the same as a genuine, authentic interaction with someone you might have known for a long time, that doesn't mean there isn't more of those interactions available. One of the best things I can recommend if you struggle with conversations with people, or having conversations, get a job. Like, I'm not even joking. A job will literally teach you how to talk to people. Try get a job that's more focused around talking to people. Like, a good start is doing something in like retail, like supermarkets and stuff, when you have a topic to discuss with someone. Like, for example, someone asks about a product in a store because you're gonna know the answer to it. Or, I don't know, let's say like you work in like a clothes store and someone wants to know if you have sizes in a certain size. Then you can start a conversation about, do you like the brand? Is there anything else you're looking for? Like, just simple conversations. However, it builds the skill of being able to talk to a bunch of random people at different times, like a different variety, especially if you're talking to multiple different genders and forms of people as well, including different ages. It's such an important skill, because that not only allows you the opportunity to get out of your shell, because one, you're actually going somewhere and working, so you're getting money to keep yourself stable. Two, you're learning life skills, which are important, and it's something that people lack outside of school, because there's going to be people who are quiet in school, but there's going to be a time in your life when you're going to need to be able to speak up and discuss things. So you're just getting two birds with one stone. And I guess the third bird, if you want to count getting out the house too. I mean, it depends where you work. I mean, going from a room to a slightly bigger room, isn't that much better. But I mean, hey, at least you've gotten ready, you've left the house, you've done this, you've done that. Plus, you can also make friends at work too. I mean, it depends where you're going, but I feel like it's a really important thing to just get out the house and try. Like, really just go and try. Like, there's a bunch of different ways I can break down social interactions, but at the end of the day, like, you can either wallow away in your loneliness or you can try to fix it. And I'm sure there's a million guides out there on YouTube who go through it in way more intricate detail, explaining every little thing you can do to make your life better, but that's not what this video is about. I'm just trying to give you, something I would do. And I'm not trying to, preach an ideal. I'm not trying to tell you to live the way I do or do the things I do. I'm just trying to provide a perspective that might help you out. You never know where somebody's at in life. You never know what position they're at, what they're currently going through. But I think it's important to be able to realize, if you're unhappy with something, that there is alternatives out there. Anyway, final 2 points. The impact of loneliness. Loneliness can have a serious consequence, including depression, cardiovascular disease, or even mortality. And the paradox of social media. Social media, while intended to foster connection, can also inadvertently contribute to feelings of loneliness and isolation by creating echo chambers and reducing face-to-face interaction. Now, these two things are kind of intertwined, because look, the impact of loneliness, we know what the impact of loneliness is, we don't need to discuss it, but in a way it is kind of part of the paradox of social media, and the video is called The Paradox of Loneliness. So how do we mesh it together? Well, the whole point of social media originally was to connect people worldwide. It has done that, and it has provided a massive change to everybody's life. Like, let's start with something small. Like, things like memes have always been around since the start of the internet. You think about the way people talk nowadays. Like, words like gooning, glazing, riz, huzz. Those are what some of the more popular ones right now. Like phrases like chat am I cooked. Like, all these random words. You probably never would have fucking heard these words if social media didn't exist, because some fucking streamer or whoever made these words up wouldn't have had a platform to say this stuff. I mean, I think I remember seeing a video about how the word Riz was created, and I think it was like Kai Cenat or Duke Dennis talking about how it was just like a thing they said in their friend group, and then they said it on stream, and then it became this massive thing. If you think about it, right, although there are definitely way bigger things that social media has done, good and bad, even the small stuff like vocabulary changes, the way that people talk, the way that people find humor, those are all things that have changed drastically solely off somebody making a fucking app. And I think that loneliness is something that I guess has kind of come from the fact that it's no longer just a joke in a friend group. It's a joke worldwide known. And I feel like it's something people just like join in on. You ever had that one person in the group who like just butts in and joins on a joke or laughs at something without knowing the context? That's exactly what half of these fucking people do with any of the words or whatever said. I mean, fuck, even I do it. Like, I started saying the word glazing. I mean, I don't remember when I started saying it, but I started saying it because people around me started saying it, and they started saying it because they saw it on TikTok or Instagram. And the point is, like, although there's nothing wrong with that, you got to understand that the things that are normally kind of ostracized or I guess looked down upon in a normal group setting, or something that's just kind of like people don't like doing because they feel as if it's inauthentic to themselves, we now do, which can attribute to the loneliness. And although I don't think you saying the word glazing or huzz or riz is gonna make you lonely, it's just kind of trying to build off the point that these are behaviors, even at the smallest level, that we're doing now because of social media. So I guess that kind of plays into this whole paradox theme. But bigger issues. I mean, obviously, we spend too much time on our phones, spend too much time on the screens. Another thing as well, TikTok videos, Reels, YouTube Shorts, whatever, those goddamn core videos, Hope Core, whatever, those like sad songs. I mean, I'm probably fucking using the same sad songs in this video, but those sad songs with some real as fuck quote, or like AI generated GTA 5 voice, or whatever the video is, even if it's just a quote, those things significantly contribute to the loneliness feeling. I think the whole point of Hope Core or Core, whatever it is like for people to relate to loneliness, you know, like somber stuff and just overall just a feeling of emptiness. Like, it really is supposed to encapsulate the feeling of emptiness, and it doesn't help because you're just showing you emptiness. The songs feel like emptiness. It feels like you're just floating to this vast existence. It's like like a gray area of nihilism. It's just weird. And although, yeah, some of those videos are real as fuck and some of those songs are just amazing, you got to think about it. Like, it's not helping when you see that every day, especially if you're already feeling lonely or down. You know, there's going to be a time where a massive clusterfuck of life just comes around and all these different things happen at once, and you just feel even worse. I mean, that's how I feel now. It's actually the reason I made this video. It's because of the own loneliness I'm feeling right now. Because, you know, everything kind of hits at once and the loneliness just feels a little bit louder. But I mean, hey, that's it for today's video. I know we ended on a bit of a low note, but I mean, look, it'd be an inauthentic video if I wasn't experiencing a symptom of it myself. But I mean, look, take everything I said with a grain of salt. If you don't believe any of these things, that's okay. Because realistically, it's just something I got from Google and gave my 2 cents on. At the end of the day, as long as you're happy with where you're at and you have your own way of dealing with it, that's all I can really hope for, I guess. But anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for the continued support. I'll see you all in the next one.